I've been critical of Pokemon in the past. I've done a lot of rants and videos on podcasts, and one thing is for sure. The Pokemon audience will go to bat and defend this company like their life depends on it. Like it is the only reason they exist, is to defend this billion-dollar corporation and their terrible-looking games. But not only just terrible visuals, we've reached a new level. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are the first Pokemon games that have launched in a broken state. Tons of bugs and glitches. If you don't believe me, you can go find them on Twitter. Simply search Pokemon Bug and scroll down. You will see all the people posting the broken mess that is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And then I'm sure right below those comments, you'll see, well, they had a short development cycle. It's a small studio. Why is that our problem? Pokemon is the biggest gaming IP of all time. Build a bigger team, Game Freak. Pokemon Company, hire more people, extend these development cycles. Do whatever you must to make this game not look like it's a GameCube emulator running on a Razer flip phone. Because the graphics of Pokemon are unacceptable. And yes, I get it. I can already see the comments. Pokemon is for kids. So are a lot of things. Pixar movies are for kids. Mario, Kirby, those are for kids. Have you seen their latest games? And how they utilize the Switch hardware and create breathtaking art styles and actually have decent textures? The amount of people that defend Pokemon is somewhat scary. It's scary because I don't think they're kids. I would understand if a kid was on Twitter and they're like 13, 14, and they're going to bat for Pokemon. They love it. Anything that Game Freak does is just amazing. I get that. They're kids. They're stupid. Kids are stupid. We should never even listen to them. But I see adults. Full-grown adults, some of them with children, defending Game Freak and defending the Pokemon Company. I don't know who's in charge over on a corporate level about the scheduling and the releases of these games, the insane release cadence that Pokemon has had over the past 5 years now. We've gotten Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes, Pokemon Legends, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in the span of 12 months. 3 mainline Pokemon games, 2 of which were 2 Pokemon games each. So that's 5 Pokemon games. I think it's safe to say that they didn't have to do that. They could have extended one of those games because, let's face it, they all have similar issues. The graphics are outdated, there's performance bugs, or they do absolutely nothing substantial with the mechanics to push the series forward. But that's not even the topic of today. The topic of today is Game Freak's insane insistence on releasing these Pokemon games so quickly that it's gotten to the point that they're releasing broken. And Pokemon games, you could, if you love them, if you hate them, most of the time, they release working. There's not these insane bugs and glitches. Arceus had quite a bit. It was pretty noticeable. Diamond and Pearl remakes, they looked pretty bad. Not broken. And the quality of these games seems to be slowly declining. If you look at Pokemon Let's Go, when I first saw that game, I thought, okay, wow, this looks pretty cool. It's an HD Pokemon game. The graphics look really nice. I can't wait to see what the next game looks like. Then we got Sword and Shield. Those games are just ugly. The art style of Let's Go was so much better. And of course, that's subjective. Maybe you like the Sword and Shield art style more, but I don't think anyone will disagree with Let's Go having better textures overall, better character models, better Pokemon models in a lot of instances. It's ridiculous. The amount of excuses that I've seen about Game Freak. Even someone who worked in the industry wrote for God of War once defended the trees in Pokemon. Someone who was working on God of War, I called out how lazy the trees were in Pokemon Sword and Shield because they were literally copy-paste. Not only did they make an ugly tree model, they made it and then put it everywhere. They could have at least, if they were going to copy-paste a tree, they could have made that tree actually look good and pasted it everywhere. But no, they slapped on some weird texture, gave it the most bare minimum leaves and no animation whatsoever, and they put it in the game. So I called that lazy. And then someone who worked in the industry called me out, saying, how long do you think that tree took to make? And I ended up asking my friend who's familiar. He said about a week. Probably took a week to make that tree, which I still think sounds crazy. I'm not a game developer, but if you've seen those trees, I would be surprised if they took more than a day to make. But you know, I let it slide. But it's just, I find it so strange that there are so many people in the industry, adults, kids, of course, that doesn't matter, but grown adults that are defending Game Freak. It's not our problem that Pokemon Company and Game Freak are choosing to have 6-month development cycles of an open world RPG. That's the type of game that you spend a little more time on typically. And it's like every time you say something about it, it's never Game Freak's fault. It's never the Pokemon Company's fault. It's my expectations that are the problem. They're just so high to want a Pokemon game to look like more than literally a polished GameCube game with more going on in the environment. That's what Pokemon looks like to me. And in some scenarios, if you go and look at a game like Pokemon Coliseum, you will see better animations for the Pokemon in those games. Which I don't blame them, they gotta make these games in 6 months for some reason. There is no other series, and someone said this on Twitter actually, they said there's no other series that could get away with what Game Freak and Pokemon Company are doing with Pokemon. Releasing a game, sometimes 3 games, in the span of 1 year, with reused assets, bare minimum new additions or gimmicks or anything like that, and graphics that look absolutely abysmal. And now on top of bad graphics, we're getting straight up broken games, which is what Scarlet and Violet are. And like I said, if you just search Pokemon bug on Twitter, you will go down the list of everyone experiencing bugs with that game. Sometimes it's simply just slowdown, really bad slowdown, frame rates in the single digits, which is it's just like, what? The game doesn't even look good. How is it running this bad? This is the biggest gaming IP of all time. I'm not exaggerating. How does it run like this? Who is in charge of this? Who is allowing this? I don't think Nintendo has much to do with it. They own a portion of the Pokemon IP, but I think this is all Game Freak and the Pokemon Company. Because Nintendo rarely will launch a game looking and playing like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet just launched. Like, it is so rare. But hell, like I said, I don't know. Maybe Nintendo has a strict rule now. Maybe this is Nintendo. I have no idea. It's just freaking weird. And it's unacceptable. Even for kids. Let's say only kids played Pokemon, which we all know is false. It's probably mostly adults or like split in half nowadays. Because people like me who grew up with Pokemon still want to play it. Kids nowadays, a lot of them are playing Fortnite, Call of Duty, Minecraft. They have way more options. Of course there are kids still playing Pokemon, but it's a decent mix of adults and kids. Even if it was just kids playing this game, look at it. Look at how it runs. In what world would this be okay if it was any other series? And I'm hoping that Game Freak sees the criticism. I hope they actually pay attention to it. I thought they would have noticed it more with Arceus whenever that came out, and people were like, these graphics look pretty bad. And now we've gotten to the point of bad performance, straight up terrible performance. Graphics, everyone was able to look past, but now I'm hoping that since these games are running terribly, they're playing terribly a lot of the time, in the single-digit frames per second, I'm hoping that people notice. And I honestly think that kids are becoming more privy to what performance is. I had my nephew over here the other day, he was playing Fortnite on my Series S. And I was like, hey, I want to play on my Series S, can you play on the Switch? He's like, no, I don't like it on the Switch. I'm like, why? Like, it's Fortnite. And he's like, I don't know, something about it just doesn't feel right. And I honestly think he doesn't like know this, but I think it's because the Switch version is in 30 frames per second, whereas when he's playing on the Series S, it's at 60 and he's better, and he like knows he's better, but he doesn't know why he's better. I think even kids are starting to notice it just doesn't look good. It doesn't play good, and it's just embarrassing that a company that has made so much money from this IP is releasing a game that looks like this. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. And like I said, I don't know who's in charge. If Game Freak is being forced by the Pokemon Company or Nintendo to put out a game now every 6 to 12 months, I can't even blame them. I can't even blame them for how these games look and play. But like I said, we don't know who's in charge. Maybe it is Game Freak. Maybe they're deciding how fast these games come out, in what state they come out, and they're just, collecting the check. Because we know Pokemon's going to make money. Obviously, Pokemon is going to make money because people don't know what they can have until they have it. And they haven't had it yet. They haven't had a real AAA Pokemon game that is this open world exploration game with Pokemon actually acting how they should in the environment, from like flying through the air or in caves. A bunch of Onyxes come out, a bunch of Zubats come out of a cave when you go in. That kind of stuff isn't in Pokemon. And people don't realize how awesome that could be until they get it in one of the games. And unfortunately, I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening because right now, Pokemon will just pop up 5 feet in front of you and people will act like that's normal. And it's really just kind of lame for what we could have. We could have something so good. And this is sort of off topic, but Pokemon not only could be better in the graphics, performance, and gameplay department, but Pokemon typically lacks in the story department as well, which is a shame because we know that Pokemon can have a good story from the animes. Like, we've seen good Pokemon stories, rich stories with awesome character development and great moments. All of that is absent from the games because they got 6 to 12 month development cycles and they can't feature any of it in the games. Anyway, this has been a scattered rant and I've been all over the place, but I figured it'd be easy to do because there's just so much to look at this game and be like, wow, that's disappointing, why is that there, why is this terrestrializing thing the gimmick, it doesn't seem very cool. I think Arceus was great, and when I played it, I was like, okay, this is an awesome new direction for the series. They obviously couldn't get it done in the graphics department very much, but the next game is going to look better, and then better, and better, and we're going to have this whole new direction for Pokemon, which Scarlet and Violet may as well be that. The brand new open world, a real open world, you got a bunch of different things you can do, but it's hard to even care when I'm staring at a game that can't run properly and has textures of a Nintendo DS game a lot of the time. But let me know everything you think down in the comments section below. Am I being too much? Obviously, yes, Pokemon is for kids, but so is a lot of things. And it's okay to be disappointed in things that you care about, even if they're aimed towards kids. I mean, I can think of countless cartoons and video games and movies that are aimed towards kids that people criticize all the time. But when it comes to Pokemon, you can't criticize it because it's for kids, they have short development cycles, they have a small team. Apparently those things can't be fixed or changed, so we just have to deal with it and accept it. Well, I'm done. I'm just kidding. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, hit that thumbs down. I'll talk to you guys next time. See ya.